Hi, everybody. I'm Joan Greek. I am a CPA. I'm an MBA. And what I'm here to talk about a little bit is how I came to become a licensed life insurance and annuity broker. And so, really, where this all began was years ago, my husband had a strong belief in life insurance. To me, it was always an expense. Um, I could see some value in it, but to me, it was something that we were paying out for 20 years. And if we didn't die in 20 years, it was money lost, right? There was no long-term benefit from it. And it's not that I didn't understand the policy itself, but it didn't seem like the right fit. And what I realized in part was I wasn't with the right type of broker or agent, so to speak, at that point in time because they were captive. But not being with the right life insurance agent, what you learn is you don't learn about the true power of life insurance. Okay? Yes, you have a death benefit. It's the more traditional model where you have it for 20 years. It helps you protect if anything would ever happen, God forbid, when the worst can happen during that time when you're paying mortgage, your expenses are the biggest. But really, there's no long-term benefit, right? There's no strategy there. And so for me as a CPA, there was always this huge disconnect with why do we own this stuff, right? The likelihood of being a 20-year-old who is going to die young and need to access life insurance, more likely than not going to happen. Years rolled by, my husband actually became a police officer, and I saw more value in it then, but to me it still wasn't expensive. I still hadn't quite made that shift to why we need life insurance. And one day at work, he had a new car partner, and his car partner started talking to him about, well, what if you have the wrong kind of life insurance? And so he had made a similar discovery, which is term is not the right kind of life insurance. Group term is not the right kind of life insurance, which many of us have through our employers. What we realized, and what they had a discussion about, was there's more to life insurance than just term life insurance, right? There's whole life insurance, there's universal life insurance. And my friend PC started to talk to us about how he transitioned. And then my husband agreed to have him come and try to sway the beast at home. I very much managed all of our expenses. I managed everything. I managed our finances because I'm a CPA and an MBA, right? So he had to come up against me and try to convince me that life insurance is not an expense. And to his credit, he did it, right? He showed me, one, how I could save money. He showed me how I could get living benefits, and he showed me that it wasn't an expense but an investment long term, and that was great. That got me through another few more years, and I started to evolve. And as I left corporate and I started my own accounting practice, my clients started coming to me with a similar need, right? Okay, we've gotten our tax refund this year. It was great. We've taken on a new job. I'm making more money. What kind of things can I be doing to help my family plan better for the future? And PC by then was a trusted friend. He always had great input, and he and I just started talking a little bit more. And where we started talking about was, okay, beyond having living benefits, beyond having whole life insurance, what can we be doing that maybe we're not thinking of right now? Thinking outside of the box a little bit. And we kept talking on and off. And finally, I kind of came to the realization that I needed to go get my license, right? There's ways I could be helping my clients with life insurance that would better enable me to give them some good advice. It would help them. And I just wanted to learn more, because what I started to learn about were all the tax benefits of life insurance. Now, I knew it passed to your state. I knew that there was some, tax-free benefits with that type of stuff, with the estate planning, etc. But I wasn't intimate with it by any means. And so what I went ahead and did was I actually went to our first conference, and you go through those things. We've all been to those, right? We all know what you're going to learn and basics. But we also had breakout sessions for advanced markets, and I started geeking out because that's where the strategy and that's where the true power of life insurance starts to unleash. And here's what happens, right? There's lots of little tidbits about life insurance that people are not familiar with, or even the agents you may have met are not familiar with. And some of those things are, you can borrow against it, you can really max fund it to use it as a stream of guaranteed income. And it's not just the living benefits, but there's also the retirement benefits that you can tap into. It could be a source of emergency cash. We really learn about the dexterity of life insurance. And that dexterity is also what allows us to pay taxes now, later, or never. And there's timing there, and there's strategy there as well, based on other scenarios in your life, other scenarios in the market, pandemics, all kinds of things. And so my transition from life insurance was going from a complete disbeliever, where it was an expense and I couldn't justify why we would ever spend so much money on it. We were spending a fortune, to, okay, well now, at least after doing my initial policy review, we're starting to save money. We got better benefit for a better price. And we're getting better returns on our investment, to becoming a true believer and a preacher, so to speak, of life insurance, right? And the importance of it. Now I sit down and I help people finance their property, their investments with it. We are financing my own personal farm is financed by life insurance. And I have the dexterity and the freedom of not being dependent on my bankers, not being dependent on what happens in the market. I get to choose when I access that money and timing, and it's not age related. And it's empowering, right? It's financial freedom. And so that's what I love about life insurance and why I've essentially become a preacher about it. Knowledge is power. It takes a lot for agents to stay up to date on just strategies and things like that. And so what I would encourage everyone to do is, if you have life insurance, I'm excited for you, because every life insurance is good life insurance when you need it, right? It's there. But let's take a fresh look at it. Let's do a policy review about it. Let's talk about it, or talk about it with your existing agent, and start to ask them some questions. Do you have living benefits? Are you able to borrow against it? Is it for term? Because many of us think we have whole life, but we actually have term. Are your premiums guaranteed? Many of us think that we have locked premiums, and then only to find out that they're going to go up after a few years. Those are all kinds of good reasons to sit down with your agent, or sit down with myself, hopefully, and let's see what life insurance is doing for you now. Let's see what it could be doing for you, and let's come up with a strategy together so that you have more financial freedom, guaranteed income for life. You get to pay taxes now, later, or never, you decide. And you have all those great living benefits. And so if that sounds good for you and you would love to do a policy review or just learn more, what I would love for you to do is go to www.jvcpa.net, or you can email me at joan@jvcpa.net.